And so we see in Europe, the young are educated, unemployed, and they're looking at opportunities in the former colonies. French would look at Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Cayenne, and others going to go to Suriname and Aruba from the Netherlands and so on. Well, the British, they own the whole world, and so their citizens have the whole world, including America and Canada and Australia and New Zealand. It's in my view, it's a serious revolution that's happening. It's not an industrial or management or religious revolution. It is straight up a devolution in which the hope that once was resident in Europe has sort of vanished. And this is extraordinary, and I think it's unfortunate and unnecessary. Now, European education is different from American education, but I find that both would complete you and make you into a sort of a significant scholar. Just Sunday, I met a guy. I go to a church there, and this lady I'm checking out and so on, and I been trying to show them some logical things from the Bible and the way I see it. And of course, that's a no-no because an organization has its own little ways of looking at things, and if you do it differently, it's a new thing, and they don't want to change for a lot of reasons, etc. So they've been trying a variety of things, and so on Sunday they brought in this guy showed up. I don't know if he was there all along. This black guy from Barbados, he's a scholar, of course. And so I asked him, I said, "Are you a student here?" He said, "No." I said, "What year student are you here?" He said, "No, I'm not a student." I said, "Are you a faculty?" He said, "No." So he said, he's a doctor. I said, "Oh, okay." And so he told me he has a master's in divinity and a doctorate in ministry. And then he get his bachelor's, but he tried to emphasize his high school, in which the traditional thing in the Caribbean, you go on for 2 more years in high school and you do some advanced levels and so on. And, it's the British education system. And right now in the Caribbean, there are exams in the Caribbean that you can do that are equivalent to what had been the British exams. It was perceived perhaps that it was a kind of earnings for Britain to be hosting this exam so that the money stays in the region. I think this is what might be the real reason, as it were. And so he was able to still do the British system. He somehow did through correspondence and did the British exam. I didn't get into many details because that wasn't my purpose. I didn't really want to get into anything like that. I didn't tell him it was mine. I didn't give him a presentation card or whatever, a business card. But he talked about he did 4 subjects. And he did math, Spanish. He said he's fluent in Spanish and he's tended to think that he's going to go work in Latin America and hold ministries, and then he's going to do extension education so people can stay out in the field and achieve their educational dreams and so on. And he tells me that what he has done, the 4 subjects for the 2 years, he's supposed to drop off, go into the 3rd year of college. And I don't know, he's trying to impress me because I'm a little bit versed with it. I should have been going to Oxford, London, and Cambridge from 3 different opportunities I had. But the first one I declined because I would have been 11 days older than the exam. The second time, I felt as if I need to be more thoroughly prepared for university as opposed to working and going in the evenings and do a little course and then, go on to London. And finally, I had an opportunity to work with a politician in the Caribbean while he was in hiatus. He had lost elections and he wanted me to be an advisor. In that time, I could have gone to London and get up to the strike. So when he wins again, I come back and be an advisor. But in real terms, the type of things he did, there's 4 subjects, and he wants to drop off 2 years of school. He says it's like an associate of arts. But in the British system, it's not like that. Universities generally are 4 years. But when you do these courses, the degree comes to 3 years. So I don't understand how I know for a fact the University of the West Indies, when you have advanced, it's a 3-year course, but here in America, he wants to do 2 years. I had an experience with that with a guy that came to my college and you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you don't want to do this. It's like he's lazy, and I'm not sure if they really are good as they're trying to impress me. Because in my first year, I did things like public speaking, um, ecology, sociology, psychology, um, and some other things like that. So that those professional courses, and my public speaking is also tied in with parliamentary procedure. So although he might skip 2 years, he's lost a lot. And it's unfortunate he would go through all that stuff and then come and study in America, where he wants to drop off 2 years and get an associate. I mean, he's done himself significant because those things are important. I mean, how are you going to be able to be a communicator and you have done public speaking? Uh, you know, um, sociology. These things are so important. What you might do, and for the last 2 years, if you don't do that, all you might be able to do is to concentrate on a major and a couple electives, and so on. You might do maybe 32 hours, perhaps, and that's so unfortunate. I mean, I don't want to do myself that. I want to have a broad education so I could do well. So I'm saying the British education, the European education is of such. Furthermore, um, what he studied for, let me say that it qualified him to going to say to be a medical doctor. If when he goes to college now, he says university says, you know what, I want to be instead of medical doctor, I want to be an engineer. No, he might have to go back to high school again to do those four subjects again. Except that he has done maybe physics and chemistry and biology and mathematics. Maybe mathematics and physics could maybe get you into engineering, while the biology and the chemistry can get you into medicine. So but generally, you have to start over in Europe, and the education is not as broad as. So my bottom line is this: if Europe at this point should look at reforming the education system in which they'll have a broad education, and you don't have to necessarily go over high school, and if you want to change careers, then I think it would help a lot. And furthermore, sometimes you don't get a job in the area that you majored in. You would find a job in maybe another area. There was a guy who did chemistry in somewhere and got a job as an accountant. But I mean, that was beyond the pale, okay? Because I mean, he said, "I'm a good learner. I have honors and I good study, and I'm going to catch up on it." No, you got to do. It's still iffy and complicated. So this guy, as I said, this guy I met at the church, he's trying to impress me, and probably wants these white folks using him to challenge me, as it were. But he can't challenge me because I'm one of the I'm aspiring to be one of the best in the world, and I want to be in the top 10 scholars in the world here. And I asked him. I said, "Well, you know what? Did you read about this in the news? Do you read about that in the news? Do you know about this?" Sorry, I'm not up to date in the news. So, well, what kind of doctor he is? I mean, it's like you have to be aware of what's going on in the area. I was talking about like gun violence and shooting up in Connecticut, and an article about smarting up guns so that and so on. He doesn't know anything about any current affair. So how are we going to have a discussion? Because I'm not trying to impress him. I mean, he's trying to show me that he had spent so many years for his 2 or 3 degrees, 2 and 3 and 2 7. I have like 10, so you're talking like 70 years or something like that. Not really. With my education, I now could stay, and I like to study. Okay, I recall when I was doing a degree in Florida, many of the students were going and checking with the professor and they want help here and help there. I just doing the stuff on my own and just flying by. It takes them forever. I get it done. In fact, I think I'm one of the pioneers in these rapid studies, because what I discovered in the 70s when I did something like sociology, it's a 12-week course, and within 6 weeks I got the drift, and it's already beginning to be boring. Now, some people they're learning all the way and going along, but I got the big picture. I got the principles that were involved, and I was ready to move on to something new. And not necessarily that they would be a better psychologist or whatever. I mean, I was right there with them. In fact, this guy, he got an A in psychology and he was scoffing at me, but I expected the psychology questions in the exam to be a little more profound. It was just like, name 3 of these, name that, is this correct or what? I mean, it's like, it was so not challenging. And I studied the whole book and I'm trying to get into the concepts. He went off, he was a minister, he went off to study, to work. And he came back saying, he can't have the job because he can't get along with the people. So his sociology and psychology courses didn't work for him. All he got A's in them. He wasn't able to function in a setting where people are involved. And I was saying, man, look at you, man. I mean, we did the sociology and psychology. How are you finding difficulties with these people? You know what I mean? So Europe needs to reevaluate its, and then America also too, because while we're abroad, we're becoming narrow because folks are not interested in the breadth. They just want to do what they're interested in. I am interested in computers. I ignore the rest of electives and all that stuff and minors. I just want to do my computer. And, so with me, I have so many different majors, but I'm not working in any. And I'm okay. Look, I have money in my pocket. Always got some money in my pocket. I'm on Skid Row, of course. And everybody around here don't have no money. I lent a guy $10, $20. He's a veteran. He's getting a pension, big check. Lent him 20 today. I always have some money in my pocket. And what I'm doing, I'm recycling and I'm doing parking. And I pay my rent and I'm surviving. So I don't have to say, government, I need a check to, I need some welfare or whatever. I have the confidence in the kind of education that, and then, if my business get organized a little bit with the federal government here, immigration and so on, there are a lot of teaching opportunities. I can get one. I met this guy who was working in a campaign for one of these politicians here, and the politician lost, and he's wondering, what am I going to do? I said, look, man, in Puerto Rico here, you speak very good English. You could be an English teacher. Hello. He's studying law. He's in his final year. And I said, well, the big man that won the governorship, this guy is foreign, and maybe he's going to give him some job, and he's going to pull you in as it were. So, he was becoming like hopeless, and I don't know if he was thinking suicide or what, but that's the life. And so in America and Britain, Europe, we need to combine the two educations and look at where, how it's going to work for us. Because all these young people exited in Europe now, it's going to be a problem. I mean, a big problem. So let us, as people, forget the system. Try to get something out of the education that will make you sort of not indispensable, but so that you could always flip and find something else and just move on.